we don't really need anything to prepare us because we're flying along on an agenda which has all the stops out. And it's an old agenda, very, very old. You can read about it in the 1800s with Marx and others. And even further back in the 1700s with the French Revolution and the authors that came forth to help to push the revolution forward. And all the followers, of course, always follow the great leaders in every era, every age of society. And something obviously is being turned up at the moment. We know we're already amalgamated as a continent, the American continent. That's a done deal. We're just the last to know. The legalities, the negotiations, the formulas for even putting the legal systems together to equalize them all, the money systems, all of these things have already been worked upon. The dollar value of the U.S. and Canada will gradually come down to $1 par, and that will happen in the final days for amalgamation. By then, most people won't care. The majority of the public don't really care about what happens in their own life, as long as their personal little world around them doesn't change too much, too quickly. They don't seem to notice almost. It's as though government had nothing to do with them. And in a sense, they're right, because government, as we're given, it really does have nothing to do with us. We are the low end of the scale. We're the cattle. It's never been any different in any era. It was far more blatant in ancient times when they wrote about it and tortured slaves for fun and entertainment when they were bored at parties. They did the same thing in the Middle Ages when the plagues were rampaging through Europe and the lords and all their cousins were holed up in castles. They would torture the prisoners just to pass the time. And nothing really changes in society. They can always find the torturers from the dregs of society to do their bidding for them, or give them a uniform and they'll do it for them, as long as they get paid. So we have the defects in society that are useful tools, useful idiots to the elite in all ages. But now, of course, they're building up something, a crisis, you might say, within the Americas. Part of it is to cause confusion, which is a great tool to use as you're going through very big changes. Confusion and the threat of terror, the oldest trick in the book, which the ancient Caesars used to use. Terrify the public, claim there's terrorism everywhere, or someone's threatening the king's life, the emperor's life, and the spies are everywhere amongst you, the people, and then the armies turned loose upon the public, and the public give up all their rights for safety, and simply hope that they don't find out that they're the terrorists, because it could be anybody if your thoughts happen to be incorrect. So nothing changes. And we have all the talking heads on the television to give the majority of the public their opinions, which are never questioned thereafter. The public don't question anything, the vast majority of the public. That's why they're called the public. And PO and PU in Masonry are the lowest forms of life. That's why you have archives for the elite of real history, real sciences, and you have public libraries for the people, and police to police you. The common person, the common man and woman. They're building up to something now. It's almost as though they want a reaction within the United States, and that might be exactly what they're after. One of the bigwigs in charge of the U.S. Air Force recently was talking about using non-lethal weaponry on the public, and he made a strange statement that, well, we have to use it on the public because we'll be using it in warfare situations too, and we'd rather know what it does exactly before we'd use it on an enemy. Well, what are you? You're the guinea pigs. say that and have it published is rather startling, because generally they do things to the public and never tell them until 50 years later. And it's even more startling because they've already used non-lethal weaponry on the public and at demonstrations. They've tested all that stuff out. So that it seems to be that they're goading those who are waking up into actually doing something. And the mob who react in all ages, albeit for the right reasons, they react. They have never thought anything through. They're disorganized. They have no clear view of where they're even going. I hear people say we can get America back. And I keep telling them, you never had it in the first place. What part of the bankers' system do you want to go back to? What period, what era? What depression? The 20s and 30s of the 1920s and 30s, that wasn't the first depression. They had three manufactured depressions in the latter part of the 1800s, when a coterie of bankers got together and collapsed the economy by pooling all their gold. So how can you go back to something which was never yours? And just like today, when you're born into a system and your parents can't tell you or don't know to tell you that it's all manufactured, your reality, everything you accept as normal, is not normal at all. It was designed that way, planned that way, by experts. And it's happened in every single generation and era. The big difference today, and since the invention of the radio and television, is that with these particular tools, we are overloaded with data. And in amongst all the data, we have music, entertainment of all kinds, to put us into this surrealistic state, where everything is mixed together: fact, fiction, fantasy, surrealism, and a little bit of truth, until you can't discern what is what anymore. Even on your major media, you have entertainment and the stars and what movies are coming out. That's your news. Everything about Hollywood and the stars is just drama dished up to the public, who love to gossip about affairs and all of this kind of stuff. And 100 years ago, 150 years ago, and for hundreds of years before that, they dished out the same drama about kings and queens and their princes and princesses, and who wasn't getting along too well, and who's unfaithful to whom. This is drama dished out to the public. And with all their worries and their own personal problems, the public jump on it and beat it to death as though it really mattered. Distractions. So we're truly, incredibly confused when we're brought up in a system of the overload, the constant daily barrage of data. Most of it is useless. Most of it is totally irrelevant. All the AM stations that you hear locally across the country with their topic offs today, are you for or against?